Welcome to the Public Voice Salon. We are an open dialogue on education, the arts, and social change. I like to say not necessarily in that order. We like to mix it up. My name is John Braden. I'm a professor of English, and I'm with, we're at City Hall Park here in New York, in front of City Hall, and they just had a major rally on climate change. This is the Sunday after Thanksgiving, 2015, and we're with Michael O'Neill, who's an organizer for the Green Party. Michael, just give our audience an idea of what happened here today.
Well, people were speaking on some of the steps that we need to take in order to fight climate change, that we need drastic, bold action at every level of government. We need to reach 100% clean energy by 2030. We need to basically have a carbon-free society by 2030. And, you know, as the Green Party, we talk about how we're going to need a Green New Deal to get there. That's how we frame it. We need a New Deal scale investment in the wind turbines, solar panels, electrification of our ground transportation, insulating our buildings and retrofitting our entire economy and system so we can go carbon free. One thing that I think we can build on what was said here is that we need democratic public power in order to get to that 100% clean renewable energy and have a just transition so that the new infrastructure that we create doesn't just end up in the backyard of poor people and working people of color, as a lot of our previous energy infrastructure was. We need to make sure that the people who work in fossil fuel related industries are able to transition into jobs building this new clean fossil free energy system. And so that's why we talk about we need a public system that's democratically controlled. And the democratic part is important because everybody needs to have a say, because if we have an opportunity, right, it's not just a challenge, it's an opportunity to build a new energy system and a new system of manufacturing, then we have the opportunity to do that in a way that we're not disproportionately impacting the people who are at the political and social margins of our society, you know.
So a Green New Deal, like Roosevelt had the New Deal, FDR had his New Deal. You're calling for a Green New Deal that would put a lot of people to work across our great country, creating solar power, creating wind power, turbines, right? I mean, this is, I'm going to say something controversial now, and this is something that I've actually said to my students in class, okay? I think that the gasoline automobile may have been one of the worst inventions known to man. I know that sounds like a terrible thing to say. People worship the car, and when we look at our society also and how it's structured with the suburbanization, we're all spread out, all over. So you got to get into your car and drive to the mall, Wouldn't it make sense to sort of restructure the society? Claudia and I live in Hoboken, so this show is going to air on television in New York City and also in Hoboken, which is a 1 square mile city where people walk around and you see your neighbor, you wave hello. Wouldn't it make more sense to have smaller communities built around a town square with electric cars? Think about like a broader vision for a green America. Does that make any sense? And is the Democrats or Republicans, are they aware of these ideas?
We've made them aware of them, but they refuse to acknowledge them, and that's why it's important to have independent political power and independent parties that are entering elections to force these ideas, because the Democrats and Republicans don't really want to talk about massive rail transit throughout this country, right? That's something that we have to force in those debates. And I'm not just talking about the Green Party, I'm talking about other, independent candidates or other independent parties who are willing to force these issues into the electoral arena, because the Democrat and Republicans, the way they currently are, they keep the debate so narrow. They're just talking about, how much we should cut taxes and from whom, and that's not going to get us to where we need to go. We need to have, certainly national, rail systems, high-speed, high-tech trains that are getting people where they need to go regionally, but then also at the local level, we need to pursue all the options that we have. We need systems that are, like you were talking about suburbia, right? Suburbia is all about, one home for one family, 3 cars for one family, right? We need to we need to show that there's actually great efficiency and great strength and great community and health benefits to sharing more resources. You know, as New Yorkers, you know, we're in a city where we have to get along with each other. Yes. On the train, on the bus, right, on the streets, and that is part of what makes this city great. And that's something that we could see in other places as well. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, which has a very poor mass transit system. You basically can't get around in that city without a car. Compare that to Cleveland, where they've got a good transit system. You know, I went to school there, and it's like night and day, the difference. And then you need to talk about, why is there no train connecting Cincinnati to Columbus to Cleveland? It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. But we haven't had that because of some of the political impediments and certainly the economic impediments of, you know, the fossil fuel industry and the car industry buying politicians off. So we need to get the corporate money out of politics. We need political democracy, and then we need energy democracy. So
Michael, thank you so much for being with us. And just really quickly, what's the highlights of today's event? Talk about what happened here today in New York City on this day.
I was really excited to see Bill Nye speak. Bill Nye was a hero of mine.
Bill Nye, the science guy.
Bill Nye, the science guy, absolutely. Bill Nye, in 1998, kindly replied to an email I sent him, which I still remember, and I still thank him to this day for that. So, you know, the People's Climate Movement was here. A lot of organizations that New Yorkers might recognize, like Brooklyn for Peace, 350 NYC, 350 Brooklyn. Of course,
Bill McKibben here?
I did not see Bill McKibben here.
But somebody from his organization, maybe.
Lots of people from 350 are here. Okay. I'm here with the Green Party of Brooklyn and, of course, the Green Party of New York State.
And just real quickly, Howie Hawkins, who ran for governor, did very well. Didn't he do very well when he ran for governor? He actually got the endorsement of some Democratic clubs in New York.
Absolutely. He certainly did, and you know, we really appreciate anyone who is willing to step up and support truly independent candidates who are calling for the policies that we need to fight the potential catastrophes like climate change. And yeah, Howie got more votes than any independent left candidate has gotten in about 80 years for governor. Wow. Almost 5%, and we're going to do better even, you know, the next gubernatorial election. And we've got local candidates running all the time. Howie just got 35% of the vote for city auditor of Syracuse. Whoa. 31 and 35, over 30%. Yeah, so we're making leaps and bounds throughout the state. So thank you so much. Go
Green with Michael O'Neill, one of the shining stars of the Green Party here in New York City, a wonderful organizer, a bright young man, and very articulate, and we always want you to be a friend of our show, Michael, okay?
Thank you, John.
Okay, be well. Okay, now we're with Alice Slater, the wonderful Alice Slater, who was a guest on our show. She is one of the great anti-nuclear activists in the world, and she is here in front of City Hall as part of this climate rally. What did you learn today? What was the significance of this rally, Alice?
You know, they canceled the major rally in Paris because of the terrible experience 2 weeks ago. Right. So they're clamping down on democracy, you know, instead of figuring out the right thing to do. Yeah. So we decided, the People's Climate Movement New York, I'm on the coordinating committee, and this is the group that came out of the big march that did 400,000 people last fall. Oh. So now we have a New York City group working to get 100% sustainable energy by 2030 in New York, with just transition and lots of good jobs and local. So we decided to work in solidarity with the people in Paris and all over the world. Cities are marching today because they're not letting them march in Paris. As a matter of fact, in 2 minutes, we're going to start our march around City Hall.
A march around City Hall?
On the East Plaza. We're going to be there then. Okay. And what we want from the city, because, you know, the song, if you can make it here, you'll make it anywhere. Right. We want the city to make this 100% commitment by 2030, particularly with offshore wind. We have the Saudi Arabia of wind. There's a study that says if you put up a wall of windmills off the coast of Rockaway and Coney Island, it would slow down the hurricane winds. Good. You know this terrible Hurricane Sandy? Of course. It would prevent that. It would slow the winds and slow the water down. Wow. So it would be like a twofer. We'd be getting enough wind to power the whole city. Okay.
Okay.
Plus, we'd be keeping the hurricanes away and keeping us safe from future Hurricane Sandys.
Yeah.
And then we're talking about solar panels on every roof. You know, why aren't we doing that? Plus, 70% of our greenhouse gas is coming from bad efficiency in New York City buildings that aren't appropriately insulated. So we want the mayor to go 100% on building insulation, starting with all the city properties and then making regulations to the private industry. And these would be wonderful union jobs right here, green jobs. You can't do this in China. You have to do it here. Same for the windmills and the solar panels. So it's like we have an opportunity now to make a transformational shift from something that's destroying Mother Earth that we can't afford to something that would be life-giving. Not only that, the energy would literally be free.
Right.
Who could charge for the sun or the wind, you know?
Right. So, Alice, you know, you have a liberal, progressive mayor, de Blasio. Is he supportive of this?
They say the right things, but we have to get behind it. We have to be the wind in his sails, because there are a lot of influences.
Yes.
You know, the corporate influences, the utility. They don't want to give up charging us the oil and gas because you know, that's how they're making their money.
What's going on behind us, Alice? Here.
This is a beautiful banner about fracking. That's very good that in New York we stopped fracking. And we also stopped Cuomo from building this liquid gas terminal off the coast.
You stopped Cuomo.
Yeah,
Good.
we stopped them twice. So now we have to stop all the rest of the pipelines.
Wonderful. I mean, you are so tireless. I mean, in your activism.
Don't
Yes.
we?
Well, Claudia's here. We're recording everything. We want. This is important stuff. I'm surprised you don't see Channel 2, 4, 7
They
here.
were here.
Oh, they were here.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
We had terrific media.
Oh, good.
It was quite wonderful. Yeah.
Alice, you are wonderful.
We have to march now at 2 o'clock. Yeah.
So thank you so much for being with us, and
Great
it's
to
always a
see
pleasure to be with you, Alice.
Yeah, and if you want to go into more of this,
Okay.
I'd be happy to do that with you.
Thank you, Alice. Always
All
a
right,
pleasure.
great. Nice to see you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay. All right. We have Christmas has come early to New York. We have Santa Claus with us here. He came down for the big climate rally in front of New York City Hall. Santa and one of his helpers. Okay. Santa, tell us what this was about. Explain to our viewers. We're in open dialogue on education, the arts, and social change.
Don't tell Mrs. Santa about this.
I'm not going to tell Mrs. Santa. This is a secret. Okay. So this is not Mrs. Claus. Well, this is a scandal that you're saying, shh. Okay. So, Santa, what was the important point of today that stood out most for you?
Well, I got to tell you, reindeer taken to drinking. All the elves are gambling now, all of them.
So depressed?
My feet are wet.
Oh my God. And now
We have therapists now. The North Pole is melting. We have no workplace. Christmas is canceled. It's very depressing.
what would get Christmas back on track this year?
Well, not that union those elves have been talking about. Not that.
Okay.
What would help is if we had green technology, renewable energy, if there wasn't so much carbon dioxide, if the big banks would not keep investing in fossil fuel ventures. Those are things that would actually help Christmas to come back.
Could you talk a little bit about, now our show is again about education, the arts, and social change. Obviously this is a theatrical type of intervention here.
Yes, it is.
We're big admirers of Reverend Billy and the Church of Stop Shopping. Are you guys performers or?
What is he talking about?
This is the real Santa.
This is the real Santa. Excuse me, but I have to,
You don't know Santa? Where, you been living under a rock somewhere?
I might not get any presents this year. If I could you help me out here?
Well, we are performance artists. We're very Occupy Wall Street inspired performance artists. We do weekly protests on issues that we feel very strongly about. My name is Marnie Halassa. This is Santa, aka Elliot Crown, and you'll see us around New York. We do a lot of performance art, and we're happy to help spread the message.
But now this is really Santa, though. I mean, we
This
can't.
is truly Santa. Okay. This is truly Santa. Sometimes he has an alter ego,
that
but he's
really-
truly Santa.
Is that really your hair?
My hair? It's not Trump's hair, that's for sure.
That's much, yeah.
But I want to talk to Santa here and say, all the boys and girls watching us, how could, what message do you have for the teachers of the world and how we can get back on track with Christmas, with this season of joy and love and peace, and in terms of environmentalism? What message would you have?
Make your own toys.
Make your own toys. Make your own toys. Yeah. Wait. Is this it? This could be Santa Claus. Hold it. This is a Santa look-alike here. Wait a minute, Claudia. We got a Santa look-alike here. Wait, hold it. Yes, sir. Tell us about you. Now, you are. Were you the runner-up for Santa this year?
I sometimes get by as his brother.
Or Karl Marx? It's either Santa Claus or Karl Marx.
I have a plan for Santa to bring us the revolution.
Ah.
And in fact, you don't have to wait till Christmas. You can have it right now.
Could you give us a little, kind of a, you don't have to read the whole manifesto, but tell us a little snapshot of that.
Where did the revolution go?
Where did it go? The revolution? The revolution has been misplaced. Which pocket is it in, Joe? I'm starting to worry. Well, why don't you wing it off the top? Talk to our audience there. Look at her. Okay.
Okay, no,
Yes,
all kidding aside, I actually...
This is the one and only Joe Friendly.
Yes, I will.
I have been gifted all along with the ability with words to do what is needed. I had been a patent lawyer, an engineer, a scientist. I've studied language in an intimate way, and along the way I felt it was my calling to be the guy to do the wording for the revolution.
Wow.
And every time I would feel a phrase, I would run to my desk and put that in there, and I've had online plans for peaceful revolution where I spell it out very gently, and I just spontaneously, whenever I get high on pot, I want to jump down and start writing more on the revolution. So you could put it down as Revolution by Pipe Dream,
Well, high on pot, you fly the Santa Claus, you fly the reindeers to Colorado, obviously, right? You get high in Colorado and then you come back.
I offer the legal opinion, if it please you, that in fact this JD in law from where Obama taught, University of Chicago, I declare that the laws prohibiting personal use of marijuana and the possession required for that is unconstitutional. And I would make this legal argument that liberty has the useful legal definition, freedom to act bounded only as harming the rights of others.
This is the last hippie from the Woodstock generation, folks. I want you to know that. You want to know where the 60s went? This is where it is. If you want to keep the 60s alive, Joe has the wisdom. And on your hat it says, let's replace our corrupt government. I like that. Joe, and is it true?
Oh, how are you going to do it, brother? That's a complicated situation. Are them rich people going to just give you the stuff or what?
Well, look, I think it's interesting.
I wanted to present today the answer.
Well, now you have a chance to present the answer. Okay.
Thank you. It comes down to this.
Okay.
Revolution made simple.
Okay.
Instead of the Arab Springs and camping out here and there, and here it is, This is as if thousands of people, they scratch their heads together, they talk, and finally the final answer, that's what I'm offering. From the bottom or the top.
Has Bernie Sanders reached out to you?
We did attend the University of Chicago at corresponding time, but anyhow, here's the deal.
Donald Trump hasn't reached out to you, though.
The idea is to develop language for the redistribution of wealth from the 1% to all of us. I mean, that's what's going on. Democracy is about power, money, power. If you're going to have a democracy, we have to have an equal amount of power so that you're not being bossed around from above, but that's what we got. So we have a sham democracy, and Uncle Joe here going to bring you for Christmas, and even sooner than that.
Not Uncle Joe Biden, Uncle Joe Friendly.
Although I have a swivel in the middle. I could be Joe Justice, be careful.
But Joe, you did run for president once, I heard, a rumor. Is that true?
It's true, in '67. I picked that year. I was in the mood to run for president.
You were in the mood that year, okay.
Just like everybody listen to me, and we can develop new authority that the whole game is a fraud anyhow. Let's just start from a new discussion. And I say that here, that what we're talking about is revolution by a new narrative.
Wow.
But I say this, brother, this is the big one.
Okay.
No, not that big, but it's cute, A new way to use your head.
Yeah.
I mean, that is,
A new way to use your head. Okay.
you know how you do it?
How?
With hats.
Oh my God, this is the revolution. You need humor in this, right? Joe brings humor and spontaneity.
Here, how about this piece of the hat? What's it?
Oh, well, let's.
Now, just think about that. That is heavy duty. How many words is that? 9/11 is a big lie. That's 5, sort of.
Let's start with that. You saw what happened to Charlie Sheen when he was talking about that, right?
Now, I do hold, among my degrees, engineering.
Okay.
And I studied that stuff pretty good, you know. I know about strength of materials and geometrical forces and the angle of the dangle, the whole thing. What happened on 9/11 was controlled demolition.
Okay.
That was very carefully arranged explosive materials distributed professionally by demolition team in Towers 1, 2, and Building 7. And I offer this piece of the puzzle. I personally figured out this is important. How did virtually all the concrete flooring, 4.5-inch thick, steel reinforced concrete, 110 floors in each building, it disappeared.
But Joe, you're getting off topic. We're here to talk about climate change. We're here to talk about climate change. You're getting off topic. But you're entitled to your opinions.
Well, it was on my head. It said 9/11 is a big lie. You know, I just want to offer that one little piece of the puzzle.
Noam Chomsky has even disagreed with that.
Really, seriously.
Okay,
All right, he's a
okay.
disappointment in that matter. But
Okay.
the point is, if concrete turns to dust in 11 seconds, all that concrete, not even crunchy stuff, but extremely fine dust. What that did is that the cleanup was just dealing with the steel. The dust blew around over into New Jersey, into Brooklyn. This concrete.
So Joe, why don't you run for president again on that platform?
I'm running for Messiah, haven't you?
Running for Messiah. Okay. Well, we got.
I did declare Messiah a couple of days ago.
You did?
I threw a whole hour on my show Wednesday.
Okay.
I didn't go Thanksgiving. I was chicken there. But for Wednesday, I've had an hour of Joe Friendly claiming everybody should listen to me. I got it figured out so good. But let me give the punchline.
Okay.
The punchline is this: revolution made simple. In order for us as a people to graciously vote into being a transfer of ownership from the 1%, all the nation's wealth, back to the people, what it takes is announcing that public corporations should be changed in their orientation of management to serving the public.
Serving the public. Okay.
Public corporations serve the public. For that to happen, we're going to have a full public takeover in the management, but you old guys can stick around. You know, we're going to talk it through. But the idea is, as a people, to reindustrialize along sustainable lines.
Yeah.
And while we're at it, the hierarchy of bossing around, we're going to make gracious to appreciate the
Nice
dignity
people.
of-
Nice people should be nice. Santa Claus says people should be nice.
All right.
Joe Friendly, the one and only Joe Friendly, who's a wonderful videographer, does such a terrific job on the left. He is the Santa Claus of the left in New York City. Officially, he shows up at all events and he films them. Has a long-running show on MNN. And keep up your amazing work, Joe.
Just doing one more thing.
Go ahead.
A solar generator of political power,
Ah.
powered by birthdays and hot sex.
Maybe that'll be good for Donald Trump's hairdo, too, maybe. Okay. Thank you very much, Joe. Be well.
All right, yeah, take a flyer. It's socialism, nothing to be afraid of. It's good for the environment, good for working people. Bernie Sanders, come on, Bernie Sanders, come on. He's talking about climate change. Bernie Sanders, Bernie Sanders.
We're here with Carl Foster. He is with Labor for Bernie Sanders. Carl, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Why Bernie?
Well, because Bernie is the only candidate, for one, that's ever been part of a collective bargaining unit. And in this country where they've ripped the guts out of the labor movement, Bernie is our best hope of putting labor back in play. There's a case going to Supreme Court this year where if the right wing wins, it'll take away our ability to organize in the workplace. People will be able to take advantage of collective bargaining without paying union dues, without joining the union. Bernie is a union man. Bernie understands organized labor, and organized labor, we're a mayor in this city who talks about income inequality, but he endorsed Hillary Clinton. She's not talking about income inequality. Bernie is. And we support Bernie. I think that democratic socialism is right on the money. It's just socialism, good for working people.
Well, if you could just tell our audience briefly, like, how bad has the labor situation gotten in America in terms of the number of people in unions? How bad is it now?
Well, I can't speak to numbers specifically, but I can speak to the fact that the number of people in the unions are mostly in public sector union. Government, except with that small percent, like UAW people, and a lot of UAW, believe it or not, are not auto workers, but are in public sector unions. The union movement is dying, and the right wing has been able to sow this thing that labor promotes inefficiency. No. Labor promotes good working conditions, and inefficiency will go out the window with the coming of good working conditions.
Have you been an activist for a while now, Carl? Talk a little bit about your activism.
I've done some activism around, the anti-war movement, and I'm a member. I'm very active in my collective bargaining unit where I work, and I'm a New Yorker who wants a better New York, wants a better America, wants a better world.
What do you do for a living, Carl?
I'm an attorney with the State Division of Housing.
Attorney in a union, that's very rare.
Why not?
Like, usually you don't think of white-collar workers in unions.
No, but white-collar workers have to see where they have a commonality of interest with the blue-collar worker. Okay. Marx doesn't speak about white and blue-collar. He speaks about the worker.
Wow.
A worker. We're workers. I'm
read-
also a member of the Communist Party of the United States.
Okay, all right.
So
You're not ashamed to say that.
why would I be ashamed?
Well, to educate our public, people who have a bad idea about Marxism and socialism because of what happened in the past with Stalin and stuff like that.
Well, any political ideology can be corrupted. Can be used, Joseph Stalin wasn't so much a communist as he was somebody who was paranoid and mean-spirited.
He was a fascist. He was a fascist.
You could make that argument, but the basic premise of communism still it's more apropos today than it ever was.
So socialism is no longer a dirty word. Is that true in America? Like now with Bernie, has he brought socialism into light? That it's not, it's not so controversial to say you're a socialist?
To a certain extent, yes. I think that you see, the public in America have an anchoring for things that are socialist. Oh. They just don't. Afraid of the word socialism.
Social Security is social.
Okay. They just don't know. And I think that a guy like Bernie is put it on the table.
Wow.
You've got a politician who's willing to put it on the table. And I'm happy for that.
Are you having a good time here in New York?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Campaigning for Bernie.
Yeah, Bernie!
Okay. Thank you, Carl, for being with us. Okay.
Right.
Have a good time.
You too, buddy. Take care.
Okay, we're here with three friends who are here to show their support for the climate change rally in New York City, and they're just going to tell us whatever they want to tell us about today.
We're here to show our support.
And your name?
Christy Penoyer.
Okay.
The climate summit that's going on in Paris starting tomorrow, and are concerned that the world leaders actually do something this time serious to address the problem.
Wonderful.
It's very worrisome because I'm not sure they will. But.
Let's hope that they do.
I think that this is the big issue, which really is the survival of Earth as we know it, and perhaps extinction of many species, including us.
Wow.
Michael?
I'm here to support the rally. We're not able to be in Paris, as you know, so we're here marching for a climate that will take care of people and animals both.
Oh, here we are. Look at the rally. Let's look at the camera and see this. Oh my God, this is wonderful. And you could say anything you want to. And your name is?
Julia Bradford.
Where are you from?
Manhattan.
Okay, you're New Yorkers.
We're all New Yorkers, yeah. And so the three of us come together to rallies, but we've got to go.
Okay. Thank you for spending time with us. Okay. Good luck. Say a few words. Tell us who you are.
My name is John Breitbart. I'm an environmentalist here in New York, and I'm here to say that I charge the world leaders in Paris with planet-icide. Their responsibility is grave for keeping the planet in one piece. And if they fail, and they know what they're failing to do, they need to be charged and brought to justice.
Read this. Oh, look at that. Wow. Can I walk in here? What, would you like to say a few words?
I'm afraid that though the climate movement is right, there's no sense of urgency. The scientists I'm reading say that there are no humans on the planet after 2030, and they're not being denied. So,
this is the future. If we don't change our planet now, this is it. This is going to be our planet. A ghoul, a ghost. Finished. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fossil fuels have got to go. Hey, hey.
Fossil fuels have got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Fossil fuels have got to.
In 2005, we hadn't had Sandy yet, and now we had Sandy in 2012, so it made the issue even more important. But I don't see much progress being done on the national front. So we have to be out here in the streets chanting and organizing and getting people together to fight for us and the planet and the other species, because we're all part of Mother Earth.
And I want to thank you for running for mayor of New York, Tony. And are you still active in the Green Party?
Yes, I'm working mainly with CUNY Divest from fossil fuels, cunydivest.org.
Okay.
And we're trying to organize the CUNY students to get the Board of Trustees to divest from fossil fuels. I know they're at Columbia, they have one, at NYU they have one, and they're very active. So maybe we can all get together in all the colleges in New York and have a joint action at some point.
Quick assessment, Tony, of this rally today. What are the highlights and what do you think it accomplished?
Well, I think it brings attention to City Hall. I don't know where the mayor is, but a lot of groups, a lot of interesting signs, interesting people, but not enough, frankly.
Okay, Tony, thank you again for being with us, okay? Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Okay. Who is this man here? He's my colleague from NJIT, New Jersey Institute of Technology, where we teach in the humanities department.
Yes,
and we teach a course in thinking, speaking, and writing, which is to help our students, and also through social justice issues and things like that.
Yes, we also teach courses about the environment. We have a program called Science, Technology, and Society, and so there are a lot of courses having to do with preserving the environment, things like that.
And it will be colleges like NJIT, I guess, that will actually provide the technology to bring this to fruition?
I always maintain hope that technologies will help us out of this mess. It can't do the whole thing. It's obviously a political solution, but engineering is not to be discounted either. In my view. Anyway, I'm out here today because we have to make sure that engineers do the right thing, and others, of course.
It's so good as an educator to look up and see a colleague. I only started working at NJIT this year as an adjunct professor. And tell your name.
My name is Bert Kimmelman. I'm a professor of humanities at NJIT.
So it's so good to see other educators.
And you too, and we're supposed to have a Tuesday coffee around now. So let's email each other and set it up.
Okay.
Let me know when you're free on the coming Tuesdays.
And there's a holiday party this week, I think?
Yes, there is. There is. I'll be there.
Okay.
You'll be there?
I'll be there. Right, okay, see you there, Bert. Good to see you. Okay, my friend. Okay.
Take care.
Okay, take care. Yes. All right, we're with Camille, and I was attracted to her sign. It says, "Share the world's resources."
This side?
On the other side says, you could say it.
One planet, one humanity.
One planet, one humanity. We like that. We like that. Tell us about yourself, Camille.
Yeah, I'm a volunteer with a group called Share International, which is an educational nonprofit organization. And what we're saying is that we have two choices, basically. Humanity has two choices. We can either continue on our path of competition, greed, separation, and all the effects of that, or we can choose a different path of cooperation, sharing, repairing the planet, and all the things that can go along with that. One path will lead to destruction of the planet and all life on it, and the other path will lead to a whole new civilization, like beyond what I can imagine.
Tell us how you got to this point in your life educationally. What are the things that shaped you? And I mean, briefly.
I was just a spiritual meanderer, just looking for something that made sense in the world. And when I came across this information, it made sense. There's a spiritual aspect to our information, and that is that as humanity is developing its power, people power, its voice to stand up to power and to say what it wants and what it wants to stop doing, there is energetic support in the form of an enlightened being named Maitreya.
Maitreya?
Maitreya, yeah. He is here to help humanity. He's here to advise.
Look at this.
He's here. He's coming out. He will come out gradually. He's coming out gradually and speaking to more and more people through TV. And basically,
is this a nonprofit? Share.
Nonprofit.
Is this your job? Do you work for this nonprofit or?
It's part-time. I'm a volunteer.
Okay.
So his main message to humanity is share the world's resources more equally.
Thank you so much for spending time with us.
Welcome.
Okay, tell us a little bit about who you are and what brought you to this climate change rally today.
Well, I live on planet Earth, so that would be enough to bring me to the climate change rally. But in addition to that, I'm an obsessed birder. Birds, and so I'm outdoors in the parks and traveling for birds all year round. And when you get out there and spend more time in nature, your awareness and concern for nature grows. And I just wish that more people would get outside, see what's out there. Because if you don't know about it, it's easy to dismiss it and not take care of it. You know.
Tell us your name and where you're from.
My name is Ricky, and I'm from the Upper West Side. So I'm here in New York all the time, except when I'm traveling for birds elsewhere.
So you make a living with this, or is this your job full-time?
Okay. I just do birding because I enjoy birding, and I work too.
In Central Park, or?
I commute through Central Park.
Oh, you do?
Every day. I have the world's best commute through Central Park.
Well, so does Claudia. She goes on a bus through Central Park.
No, you have to walk. You have to walk through Central Park. That's the way to commute. Through the Ramble every day.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I heard that in Washington Square Park there's a hawk. Is that true?
Yes, I believe there was one nesting actually in one of the NYU buildings. And they named it Violet, I think. Don't quote me on that. I don't really know.
You brought back a memory for me. I remember my grandfather, my paternal grandfather, used to love to look out the window and watch the birds. And when I was a little boy, he would say, "Johnny, come upstairs and look at the birds with me."
Mm-hmm.
It is important to pay attention to nature.
Yeah, and you'll never know how many wonderful things are out there until you step outside, take a look. It's
Thank
great.
you for reminding us, Ricky. Thank you. And enjoy the rest of the rally.
You too. Have a good rally.
Okay.
Come on, guys, wake up. It's a beautiful
Yay.
planet out there. Take care of it.
Thank you. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you very much. Okay, let's see. All right. So, okay. We have a very socially conscious group of ladies here, and they have a flyer that says, "Protect Our Common Home, Pope Francis." So is this a religious organization?
Well, yes.
Tell us who you are. Tell us who you are.
Well, I'm Carol D'Angelo. I'm a Sister of Charity of New York.
Okay.
I'm Teresa Koturan, a Sister Charity of Nazareth, working as the NGO representative at the UN for Sisters of Charity Federation.
Okay, and tell us who you are.
Margaret O'Dwyer, Company of the Daughters of Charity, representing the Daughters of Charity along with Catherine Prendergast at the UN.
I'm Sister Julie Cutter, Daughter of Charity.
Wonderful. Tell us a little bit about this march today, this rally for climate change.
Well, I guess first thing I'd like to say is we are all part of, there are many different groups, but the Global Catholic Climate Movement, which is an international group, and Nancy Lawrence, we're part of a small New York Global Catholic Climate Movement group. And so we are marching in solidarity with all the hundreds of thousands of people throughout the world today that are marching. We really want our world leaders to really make a strong statement, a strong climate justice treaty at the Paris talks. So that's part of what we're asking.
And we know that Pope Francis is actually sort of a controversial pope in a way, because he is actually the first pope to point out that there are problems with capitalism. Is that true? Is that?
One of the things he said very strongly is that we all need conversion, personal and communal conversion, transformation. We have to change our lifestyle to one that's more simple, because especially those of us in our first world developed nations, our lifestyles really are built on the lifestyles of people taking away from the resources in developing countries. That's one of the things.
It is a call for sustainable consumption and production. We need to change our lifestyle. We have to think about not only progress for today, but progress for tomorrow, while leaving our planet for next generation.
So you got the United Nations and the Pope that's behind this rally here today, and that's pretty good. Okay, very nice.
The Pope did make a call for all of us to do something about climate change.
Tell us your name.
Nancy Lawrence. And, so we're here to support the general theme of this march, which is to support sustainable development, to care for our common home, which was a phrase that he used in his recent encyclical, because we're all affected by climate change in the end.
And I guess for those of us who might not be that familiar with Laudato Si on Care for Our Common Home, the Pope has really called each one of us, all peoples on the planet, to be in conversation together. And especially to be in conversation with people who might not be of the same mind or the same attitudes. We need to be in conversation with different groups and different people, because only together will we find a solution for the sustainable lifestyle that we need to live. So it's really about how do we move together.
Actually, his call is for a dialogue, not for controversy, to bring people together to the table.
Thank you all for reminding us that climate change is a spiritual issue as well.
Yes.
Thank you all so much. Okay. Okay, here we have a familiar face here, Mr. Frank Craven, the acting Scion, whose grandfather was the one and only Frank Craven, who originated the role of the stage manager in Our Town, both in the theater version and in also the movie version of that. Okay.
Yeah, he was also a playwright that wrote The 19th Hole, Get Those Papers, a lot of comedies in 20s and 30s.
Tell us quick.
First year.
Oh my God, Frank, you're a man of so many talents. You're an actor, you're an activist. So this is obviously your activist side here.
Yeah.
Give us your analysis of today's events so far.
Also, I'm an artist. These are my paintings. Pray for Iraq, eco-friendly energy versus fossil fuel industry, and whatnot. So, yeah, I've always marched for peace. I grew up in Spain. My parents didn't want me to go to Vietnam, so I was at the draft, and so that was Franco, the police, so it was like it's my patriotic duty to protest authority. I was so proud when Nixon stepped down.
You were proud when Nixon stepped down?
Yeah, we took back our power. Demos gratos, people power. That's what's supposed to be a democracy.
So you're actually too young to be a child of the 60s, but you sort of caught the tail end of that era, that peace and love generation?
Well, yeah, my sister was older than me. She was more of a hippie. We were both Beatlemaniacs and stuff. And, of course, yeah, no, I was part of that whole thing. Woodstock was in '69. And I was a kid, but a blossoming young teenager. That's when Woodstock Nation was flourishing. And it went on to, you know, the whole hippie movement that was very exciting.
Look at all these people marching, Frank. What do you think? Look at them. There's crowds of people here in New York. I mean, this is a huge turnout. Are you happy?
Yeah, thank you, God. We need to honor Mother Earth at all costs. She's natural, and that's our prime directive. Everyone worldwide knows that our Earth is our mother, and the most important thing, she's a living, breathing thing that needs to be respected. And Nikola Tesla had it clear 100 years ago. There are still turbines in the Niagara Falls spinning electricity, powering the grid. And, you know, Buckminster Fuller had it clear 50 years ago. Yeah, we have solutions to pollutions. We've transcended scarcity. Jimmy Carter had it clear. He put solar panels on the White House, and we have to get off foreign oil. But they turned off the spigot. The oil boys are the ones that are in charge. You know, they have an infrastructure. But we have it going. We're going to have it clear tomorrow. The kids are going to make it work.
What I appreciate about you, Frank, is that you come from this wonderful acting family. You're related to the Barrymores, okay? And, you know, and all that stuff. You could have went Hollywood very easily. You're a good-looking guy. You chose a spiritual path, a political path to do what's right for justice, and that's what I really admire about you.
Well, I've starred in a few films. I spent about 10 years in Barcelona. I used to walk the red carpet at Cannes Film Festival, and I've worked all my life as an actor. Small parts, TV shows. I've been leads in various theater shows and toured the country, and that's my main profession. Of course, I'm not a big star, but I'm certainly glad.
Not yet, but now that you're on our show, you know, you're going to go right to the top.
Hallelujah! Thank you, God. Well, it's certainly an honor and a pleasure.
When your cousin
I must shave and cut my hair and put on my tuxedo.
Well, when your cousin Drew Barrymore sees this, you know, who knows? Who knows? You know.
Well, actually, it was my grandma Maisie that was born in a trunk, and she was cousin Maurice Blythe, who begat Lionel, Ethel, and Jack.
Oh my God!
And they changed her name to Barrymore because it fit longer on the marquee. And I don't know who it was had Jade, and then Jade had Drew. And now, as I understand, Drew has a baby now too, right?
She does. Yeah.
Terrific. Well, God bless us. So we're like, you know, fourth and fifth cousins once removed type of thing.
So good to see you, Frank, and good luck with this rally. And we're going to catch up with you another time when you have some free time.
All right, I got lots of theatrical memorabilia and tons of stuff my great-grandpa and grandpa had from burlesque era, vaudeville, early Broadway, Hollywood, all that stuff.
Final word on climate change. You got it. Say it.
God bless us. Thank you, Pachamama Alliance. A salute to Six Directions on behalf of the indigenous First People and all people. There is no, as the eagle and condor see us, there is no difference in our nationality. There's simply, we're part of the planet. And this is, all of us are connected, like it or not. And we must preserve and love our earth and not stop the fossil fuel waste. We have solutions to pollutions. Yeah. Hallelujah!
Hallelujah! We love you, Frank.
Thank you.
Be well. Okay.
Thank you, John. John Braden, to the rescue with the camera. Gracias, Gloria. Adelante.
We are with a group here, a man from Alaska. Okay, and you are from Alaska. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in Alaska with climate change.
Well,
tell us who you are first.
My name is George Figdor. I'm from Haines, Alaska. And of course, the northern climates are experiencing the first onslaught of global warming. The Arctic ice is melting in parts of Alaska that used to be, surrounded by ice or surrounded by melting water now. We're in danger of having the permafrost melting and releasing methane gas. So yeah, things are happening up there that very few people see. And of course the oil companies want to take advantage of the disappearing ice by starting to drill up there and making things even worse.
Doesn't Sarah Palin know about this?
She can see it all from her back
Her window. That's right. She's the melting glacier right there. Okay. And so you came in from Alaska to be here today?
Well, I've on the East Coast visiting family, but yes, but I came in 2 years ago. I came in and demonstrated in front of the White House. I was one of the original group of the 350.org people who were arrested in front of the White House 2 years ago.
Now, wasn't Robert Kennedy Jr. also arrested there?
You know, I don't know. There were a few celebrities who happened over a period of about 10 days. There were 1,200 of us that wound up being arrested.
So you are with 350.org.
Well, I'm
that's a wonderful organization.
Part of their organization, yeah. And we, yeah.
Wow. And what about Bill McKibben? Is he? I'm sure he's supportive of this, right?
Oh yeah, a great person. So I've been to a number of demonstrations in Washington D.C. that he led, and originally the thrust of it was to stop the Keystone Pipeline, which we did.
Which they did. Yay! Keystone was stopped.
Yes, it was. So I went to jail for something that turned out to be worthwhile.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So it looks like it is turning a momentum here. I feel as if the awareness is getting out there. What do you think?
You know, it's hard to say. So much has to change, and you know, more than just awareness. I think people have to change the way they live. Personally, I was feeling bad about the concept of leaving New York and flying back to Alaska, so I'm actually going to take a train. It's going to take me over a week to get back. I'm going to take a train to the West Coast and then a ferry up to Alaska. So
you'll see the land.
I'll see the land, but anyway.
What do you do for a living, sir? What do you do?
I'm retired. So now I am sort of full-time
activist,
volunteer. Well, I call it volunteering.
Okay.
And so yeah, I do a lot of work with peace groups and environmental groups, and yeah.
You got a wonderful green shirt, jacket here with a blue Bernie button on.
Blue Bernie button. All right.
You think Bernie is the climate candidate of choice?
He seems to be. Yeah. Yeah.
Get the money out of politics, right?
Well, he ties it all together with, you know, it's all part of the same thing. The oil companies and the way they make money has a lot to do with why people are here today, you know, demanding some changes to into the way we utilize energy, and the big corporations and the people that Bernie doesn't like are the people that are responsible for the climate change.
He's calling them out. He's shattering a silence. You're shattering a silence by being on our show today, and we truly appreciate your words of wisdom. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And tell Sarah Palin to get on board this. Okay. Okay. Could you say a few words on TV about wind power? Okay, yes. Okay. What's your name, ma'am?
My name is Catherine Skopik.
Okay. Here we're with Catherine Skopik, who is an advocate of wind power. Tell us a little bit about windmills and what they could do.
Okay. We can get so many thousands of megawatts from offshore wind, especially off Long Island and Long Beach. There is tremendous potential, and the mayor wants to increase our renewable energy total, and the offshore wind could go a long way to do that off Long Beach.
Wow.
And Governor Cuomo recently vetoed the Port Ambrose LNG port, so now we're free to put up this offshore wind. And we need a PPA, a power purchase agreement, meaning that once it goes up, that we would agree to purchase the power from that wind farm. And it would go a long, long way to give us the renewable energy we need and get us off fossil fuels.
So you think the folks in Long Island will get behind this too?
They are already behind it. They do not want the LNG port. They want a wind farm, the people in Long Beach. They've been organized and they want it. Even the Chamber of Commerce, the businesses, the local community members, everybody wants it.
Maybe you get Sean Hannity behind it. He also lives on Long Island.
Oh, we have to get him behind it.
Get him
as
behind
well.
it. Why would he say no? I mean, solar power, save the world. The left and the right. This is not a political. This is not a partisan issue, right?
No, we all live on this planet. We're all one. No matter our age, our ethnicity, where we come from, we all are one family and that we live on this planet. And if we don't start doing things like this, who knows? We want our children to have the world that we know, the beautiful world that we know, right?
Quick thoughts about today, Catherine. What are your thoughts about today's gathering here in downtown New York in front of City Hall? Do you think this is going to be do some good or what?
Oh, excellent. Yes. And we are showing solidarity with over 200 countries around the world who are here today, because in Paris they were not allowed to have a big march.
Okay.
So we said the world has got to show us that we're all behind this effort to fix our climate, reduce greenhouse gases, go to renewable. Okay.
Thank you, Catherine, for being on our show. Okay, we're with David Kalman, who suffers from MS, multiple sclerosis, and he just explained to me how the heat is very bad for people who suffer with MS, and that he's lucky to have an air conditioning, but other people who don't have air conditioning who have MS have to suffer a lot. And David, you said to me last year was the hottest year on record. Is that true?
Yes. Yes. So I came out today because of my fellow people with MS who have to suffer from the hot temperatures that we've been having, with last year being the hottest degree on temperature. And I'm very lucky that I can afford air conditioning, but I really feel for my fellow people without MS who can't afford air conditioning, and with the heat making their bodies feel very much weaker, which is what happens if you get out in the heat when you have MS.
Thank you, David, for sharing some thoughts with us today and spending time. Thank you, David. Okay, so I think we had a really good show today here in front of New York City Hall, a major climate change rally and march to gain awareness for global warming and what needs to be done about it. And I want to especially thank my wife Claudia, who's filming me right now, because we live in Hoboken, and I kind of didn't really want to come out today. I wanted to stay in town today, and she was the one who really pushed that we come over here and do this. We're such a blessing to have a show like this on public access cable, that we can bring this information to people. And also, you know, I do remember when I got my master's degree from NYU in English education, we had a big ceremony in Washington Square Park, and one of the speakers there was Al Gore. Al Gore was one of the keynote speakers at my graduation, and I want to acknowledge Al Gore because his film, you know, he made a documentary film about global warming that was very popular, and a lot of people saw it, and it won the Academy Award. And so he was a key figure in this. And also last year, Robert Kennedy Jr. was at the march, and he was at the big climate change march, 400,000 people in New York. And when Amy Goodman, who's our colleague at MNN, asked him what he thinks needs to be done to get this climate change thing under control, the first thing he said was, we got to get money out of politics. So I think I agree with Robert Kennedy Jr. And thank you for watching us here on the Public Voice Salon. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.